It's time for the movie Ray, and tonight's victim is actor and stuntman Kane Hodder, known as Jason Voorhees, in numerous of the Friday the 13th films such as Friday the 13th New Blood, Jason Goes to Hell, and other films such as Death House. Hello.
Hey.
How you been doing, man? You've been doing lots of cons recently all year, I bet. I bet you probably got like 20 more going, aren't you?
Well, it has been very busy. I had 11-week stretch where I did 10 cons and a film. Yes, it's been crazy. This year, I will do the most cons for the year that I've ever done. So,
what is our new projects going on this year? Are you focusing just only on that right now?
No, I mean, I've done 4 films this year also. One being a film called Knife Corp. It's a scary film, but not necessarily horror. I play a guy that's not real nice, but you find out there's kind of a reason behind it. So you almost hopefully sympathize with my character somewhat because of what's happened to him in the past. So that's interesting. I did one called Murder All, where I play myself, and I am promoting a drug that helps keep my murderous impulses only on the set. So it's kind of a funny, scary, funny film. And I did one called Fanboy 13, which is I'm also playing myself in a kind of a different way. And it's interesting because all my scenes are with an actress named Jennifer Banco, who played young Tina in Friday the 13th, Part 7. She was a little kid. So this time, she's no longer a little kid, and all my scenes are with her. It was kind of cool to see her again. I haven't seen her since.
Are we going to see any more Death Houses sequels anytime soon as well?
Not that I know of yet. I know that they have ideas and maybe plans, but nothing concrete yet.
A couple of messages to relay to you. And one of them is, CJ Graham says hi.
CJ, he said something else too, didn't he?
No, believe it or not, he just says, tell him I say hi. That's it, literally.
I find that hard to believe. CJ and I fuck with each other all the time, so I'm surprised he didn't jokingly say something else to say. But yeah, he's a good buddy of mine. I think he did a very good job as Jason. Probably my favorite Jason performer, other than myself. He's a good friend.
Man, and another message. Speaking of Jason Voorhees, I did get a message from Jason Brooks from Friday the 13th Vengeance, who also plays Jason Voorhees as well. And he says, I admire him for his work and respect him for being a real Jason.
Oh, wow. And what's his name again?
Jason Brooks from Friday the 13th Vengeance. He plays as Jason Voorhees in this film.
He's friends with Petey, I guess.
That's right, sir. Oh, yeah.
I call him Petey. He doesn't like being called that, but that's tough shit.
Well, speaking of which, he actually has a question for you, sir. He says, since the studios have not put out a Friday the 13th film in a decade, we are seeing the first of fan film. You yourself have been in one called Fanboy 13. What is your take on these, and are you excited to see your friend Petey in the upcoming Vengeance movie?
I wanted to be in his movie, but I just couldn't because it wasn't SAG. And by the way, Fanboy 13, even though it sounds like it, it's not really a fan film. It's more than that. Petey, I would have loved to punch him in the face or something in the movie. That would have been fun.
Oh, man. I'd like to see some kind of...
wish him well with this film.
Oh, yeah, man. It's skyrocketing. It's already hitting the premiere right now, and as well as some sneak peeks and so forth on the certain release dates so far. And, yeah. And hopefully he can, like you said, stop being such a baby with that little wimp arm of his, so to speak, and get up there and start getting into it.
Yeah, really. I mean, he tore up his arm, didn't he?
I know, man. That's crazy. But, yeah, he's doing pretty well so far, so I hope he can recuperate and start killing again on screen.
Yeah. That'd be good.
When it comes to mending a past and future in a horror character, do you think it's more like alternating than actually creative process of that character itself?
Boy, that is a convoluted fucking question. I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Yeah, dude, you need to go make a shirt of that.
Yeah.
Make a shirt of that quote right now.
Yeah, you should. That's a convoluted fucking question.
And I want you to go wear it at the Vengeance premiere when you do it. And go see CJ and Petey.
Yeah. No, that would be pretty funny, yes.
Oh, yeah, dude. And then you need to wear a pink hockey mask while you're at it. I'm just saying.
I suppose.
Oh yeah, but what I mean, like with this, like certain horror characters, especially now when it comes to these types of characters, they mend from what they learned in the past, like combining from the old elements of the character, what was really famous for, and incorporating the new elements in the character now, which does sell at times and has thrills and some scares. You know, look at Pennywise, like It, the new It, and does get a lot of feedback. But do you think it's more like just alternating rather than actually moving forward and actually progressing into something new and something more that we haven't seen?
Well, I mean, I think if a character like Jason has been around for 12 films, I think you need to respect the previous performances before you ever came in, wherever you came in, and, you know, respect and kind of do homage to maybe a little trademark move they did or something. I think it's kind of interesting to play it that way. I watched all the movies again, the previous 6, before I started in part 7, see what I liked and what I didn't like that other actors did, and then kind of incorporate that. And a good example of that is, or lack thereof, is when I did Jason Goes to Hell. The evil or essence of Jason takes on other forms, goes into other bodies, other characters, and my idea was for them, even though they are Jason technically at the time, and it looks like them, I thought it would be very interesting other actors to incorporate something that I do as Jason in their performance. I thought it would be kind of interesting to see, oh yeah, that's still Jason because still does that certain thing or whatever. And none of the actors that I approached with that in Jason Goes to Hell wanted to do that. They were like, nah, and my Jason wouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, you're Jason, huh? It didn't really go over too well. Kind of pissed me off, really, that nobody had any interest in that. I just thought it wasn't an ego thing for me. It was keep the character a little consistent, even though it looked different, you know? So, man, that's how that went.
What would be your thoughts on having others perform this character? Do you think it's best for others to do it too, or do you think there's a certain more esque to it, like all the other Jasons from the actual saga?
First of all, every big guy in the world thinks he can play Jason. Everybody thinks easy because it's no speaking and no facial expressions, so it's easy. And 99% of the time they're wrong because it's much harder to be scary without those two tools as an actor. You can't use your face or your voice, and now you have to look scary still. And almost every time I ever watch another performance, it strikes me as they're trying too hard. They're acting, and it doesn't look convincing or natural. My biggest focus when I was playing the character to make it look natural. Scary as hell, but not like I was trying to be scary, just like it was naturally scary. And that's kind of funny that at conventions, a lot of times people that meet me for the first time will say, hey, do the Jason walk. And I'll say, well, that's kind of just how I walk. So that's why it doesn't look like I'm acting, because that's kind of how I walk. I exaggerate it a little bit, but not so that you'd notice. Like, I don't want to take the viewer out of film by saying, that guy is trying to be scary, and it's not working. You know?
Oh yeah, definitely. Because I think, to me, in my opinion, is when someone's playing a character like Jason or even Michael Myers and so forth, especially like Freddy, it's got to have some personality to it. It's got to have something with that in order to sell that character, in order to not just be scary and intimidating. But with Jason's case, I've always been fascinated with his story, because his story is tragic. His story can be played with like what actually happened when he was a kid, or how does he react when he's an actual adult. Because as he grows, he's sort of human but inhuman at the same time. He can die, but then when his powers really kick in terms of being supernatural, like super strength and all this stuff, he becomes even more of a efficient killer, and he actually learns. He actually learns how to be a better killer and so forth.
Right. Learn from your mistakes, just like any good worker.
Oh yeah, it's like, look at the character Jason Voorhees in part 2. The scene where he hops on that stool or whatever and tries to impale the girl, when she's under the bed, and he falls on his butt because the weight was too great for him. You remember that scene?
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, that's a good point. Some of those things you don't even know if they were scripted or not, or if it just happened.
Definitely, man. What are your thoughts, the fact that if you were to be in a future licensed film, studio film, right? Let's say, hypothetically, you are in one right now, okay? Would you actually change up the behavior of Jason, or would you still stick with that momentum mentality as you did in the previous film?
It would have to depend depend on the story itself. You know, if the story dictated more staying like the old character that I used to play, then that's what I would do. But if it seemed like I should incorporate some new stuff, then that's what I would do. It would certainly depend on the storyline. You already know that I wasn't ready to quit playing Jason when I was replaced. I'd still welcome it one last time. 13th movie? Come on. Bring him back for the 13th. I can still kill motherfuckers.
Yeah, dude. It's like, don't stop at 12. Why stop at 12? That's torture right there. You're torturing Jason right there off the bat. But like, I'm gonna come out and say this right here, right now. Honestly, I think you should have been Jason Voorhees in Freddy vs. Jason. I'm gonna say right there.
Well, I appreciate that. And what was so frustrating about it, you've probably heard me talk about this before, is that I was told I was doing the movie before they hired the director. The producers had a lunch meeting with me, gave me the script, and said, we're finally doing this movie. And I was excited. So that is why I was more upset that I was replaced, because I was told I was doing it. Now, if I had never been told that, it wouldn't have been, still be disappointing, of course, but it wouldn't have been as frustrating and wouldn't have pissed me off so much. Because that's the way Hollywood is. Whenever you think you're set, you're not. You can be replaced at any moment. So that wouldn't have really shocked me. It would have disappointed me, but wouldn't have shocked me the way it did, considering I was told I was doing it. Then the director was hired, and he wanted to do something. They let him dictate that. So that's why I was more upset than anything. People just think, he's pissed off because he got replaced. Well, yes, but not just that. Everybody that has played the character has been replaced, except for Derek. He just seems, he was the most recent one, so.
Oh, I definitely agree, because the fact is, I had some issues with that when I'm watching this movie, because first of all, one, Jason Voorhees, the character. You've played him more than one time, and you know the movements, how he kills, the mentality, and how to show it, and without making it forced, so to speak. Even though he's a brute force on alone, but without making it look like you're trying hard, but how to do it. And when there's someone in this particular film that really has not have any real experience being this character, actually being fitted into this character, I gave it a chance. And I was open to it, and I just couldn't accept it because it wasn't Jason Voorhees. To me, it looked like a dressed up Herman Munster with a hockey mask.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it. Any of us that has played the character in one of the films didn't have any experience, in that type of thing. I mean, I had done a lot of makeup and a lot of crazy characters before that, so as far as the makeup goes, I was used to that. But nobody can say they were experienced playing Jason before they actually did it. So you just have to accept the fact that you're new at this and do whatever you can to do the character justice. And a lot of guys in the past have done that, and other guys have not. So
yeah, I could see that, because in terms of the names, to me, every Jason of all the Friday 13 films have actually given something to Jason as a character. Yourself, C.J. Graham, Steve Dash, everybody that's ever played as him have actually given something to the character that we see on screen to make it more evolutionized in its own way. Freddy versus Jason, I don't hate the movie. I love the movie. I truly do. It's just my little nitpicky. I mean, it's just the fact that I would have loved to see you in there. I would have loved to see how you would have made this a little bit more interesting, because here you are facing an icon versus an icon. That's what every fan...
Even Robert says he was a little disappointed, because in his words, he told this on an interview once, that he always saw it not necessarily so much as Freddy versus Jason, but more as England versus Hodder. And that was kind of cool to hear. By that point, played Freddy, all those films. I had done 4 in a row, so it was time for us to meet, but it didn't go that way. So
I do enjoy this movie. I like the storyline of it, and good battle scenes in my opinion. But aside from the fact that I would love to have seen you perform in this film, it's a really good film either way, because it is for the fans.
I agree, it is. I went and saw it. Even though I was disappointed, I still went to the theaters and saw it, because I'm a fan of both characters.
Oh yeah, me too. I love Freddy.
People liking the movie. It doesn't bother me that people like the movie. I mean, because it was entertaining.
Do you think certain studios or other companies are actually making some of these horror characters a little bit weaker just because they want a good thrill? They want to package it and market it so to sell the audience. But do you think in a way they're kind of making them a little bit weak and not actually put in their full effort to it?
I don't think that ever occurred to me that they would purposely do that or anything, but you never know, really. You never know the motivation with some of the behind-the-scenes people, marketing people. I guess maybe that could have been the case, but it never really popped into my mind as a possibility.
Yeah, because have you noticed, like, Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, and Ghostface from Scream, and Jason Voorhees, and Michael Myers, and, of course, Pinhead, and Candyman, all these guys, and, of course, Chucky, all these guys have been, to this date, the most top icons, and no one has even came close to reach the status of it, but have been popular, though.
Yeah, that's true. It is pretty amazing that so often I'll talk to writers, producers, directors that think they have the next horror icon, and it's hard to figure out why not. Sometimes the characters are pretty interesting, but it just doesn't take off like some of the other iconic ones, and you just can't really figure out why. But I don't mind the fact that people keep trying. I mean, it makes it fun for us fans.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the marketing thing, but when I see horror characters in an actual horror film, and so a lot of times they'll have like a solid character but very flimsy background or story background, or maybe vice versa, or maybe it all together. But honestly, like marketing wise, it's these characters have never really been a household name like Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and everything else. When you say that, you instantly know what it is, because these characters have something unique, something on their own terms. And the thing is, with today's horror, now some of these are getting big names. Like I said, Pennywise, the new Pennywise, a lot of people love this character. Art the Clown, a lot of people love this character as well from Terrifier. And having to reach status of a household name, it's like, do you think this is going to take even much longer to even reach to that point?
Yeah, that's very hard to say. You mentioned Art. That's funny because I'm with him this weekend, Carefest.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, he was on the show. He's a really, really chill back guy, really cool guy.
David, right? You're talking about?
David Howard Thornton. Yes.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and we're going to have some fun this weekend. I'd like to work in one of his films with him. That'd be it.
Oh, certainly, definitely would like to see something, especially like out of like when everyone sees you as Jason Voorhees, but being out of the Jason Voorhees-esque, so to speak, seeing you as like let's say human or a brute or something with intimidating look, and just having a good old fun killing people.
Yeah. And maybe battling with him. That would be pretty interesting.
That would be interesting. Why not? Let's just send all letters to him, and then we'll get this out. We'll just have another versus film. Come on, it's been 20 years, right?
Kane versus Art.
Why not? Come on, guys. Send messages right now. Go ahead. Oh, man. So we got a couple of fan questions that we got here, if you have some time.
Okay, because I only have a few more minutes, so let's go ahead and do that.
All right, cool. So, okay, this one is from David Fowler. He says, what was his favorite experiences on set of Friday the 13th Part 7?
Well, let's see. Favorite, I loved doing the whole movie. Let's just say that from the beginning, because John Buechler was an amazing director and writer and created the makeup, and the whole look of Jason was amazing, I thought. It's the only time I've ever done a film where, and hopefully this will make sense to you, but where the first 4 weeks of shooting was in L.A., and we shot all interiors of the movie. And then we went to Alabama and shot all the exteriors of the movie. That is such a rare way of shooting a film that I've never done it since. So it made it a little bit tricky to remember, for instance, if I'm walking into a building and you see me outside, then you see me walk into the building. Those could have been, those two shots, even though it looks seamless, could have been done 4 weeks apart. So you have to kind of remember your mindset when you do the interior part of a scene that you now have to do the exterior part. And I'm not even sure I explained that clearly, but so it made it a little tricky for the performance is the whole point. Did have, I think, my favorite scene shooting, because I knew it was going to be something that people would talk about, was the sleeping bag scene in Part 7, because it's such a creative way of killing someone. I always say it's my favorite Jason kill because I'm killing someone with something that's not a weapon. Anybody can kill with a weapon, but try and kill somebody with something that's not a weapon makes it a little more interesting. I'd say that was my favorite moment of shooting.
And this next question is from James Maston from the fan film Voorhees. And he says, I'm a huge fan and Jason X is my favorite film. What were your initial thoughts on first reading the script?
Well, I thought, wow, this is quite like different when I first read the script. And I said, it seems a little bit crazy to have Jason in space and all that stuff. And I was a little apprehensive when I first read it. And then I started thinking, well, Jason has been in a lot of different settings before, New York and, the camp and all different places. So as long as I make the performance consistent, then it really doesn't matter where Jason is. And that's how I approached it. And my apprehensive thoughts went away quickly because Jim Isaac was a very good director, and we decided, hey, it doesn't matter where he is. Let's just make him the same old Jason and doing the same old things. And in fact, doing the sleeping bag kill again. That was an idea that Jim and I had come up with together, and people still like to watch that scene because it reminds them of the old days.
Oh yeah, dude, it's like totally brutal. Especially the one scene when C.J. Graham as well, and Jason Lives when he threw one of the paintballers into a freaking tree. Oh my God, was that brutal? Oh
yeah, yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes that C.J. did.
Oh man, it's just totally brutal. Also, in the one that you did from Jason Takes Manhattan, the most brutal in that movie to me is when you just crammed the freaking sauna rocks into this guy's chest and stomach. Oh my God! And
an interesting behind-the-scenes tidbit about that scene was that I had killed the actor in a different way in that scene, and they started editing. They didn't think the scene worked for whatever reason. So they said, we got to go back and reshoot his kill and make it more brutal. And that is the reason that he conveniently has a towel on his face, because it's a different actor.
It's really hard to pinpoint an actual favorite kill, but if I were to say that, those two kills I just mentioned, plus, of course, another from Jason Lives, getting your face slammed into an RV through the bathroom wall and still going through the wall. Oh.
And then punching the guy's head off on a rooftop and freezing a girl's face and smashing it on the counter.
Yeah, that's not like an ex's dream to do that to their girlfriend or anything in that matter at all. All right, go ahead and plug in any websites or any dates that you are going to be appearing on these cons and so forth. Anything that you'd like to share for us to check out right now?
I'm at Scarefest in Lexington this weekend, which is cool since it's Friday the 13th. Coming ones, I have Days of the Dead, Charlotte. I have Monster Mania in Hunt Valley, Rock and Shock in Worcester, Mass. Doing one in Manchester, England, and then Frightmare in the Falls in Niagara Falls. Busy next few weeks, so it should be fun.
Oh, definitely, man. Well, you stay safe out there and just keep on killing like you usually do, buddy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the time, and hopefully I'll talk to you at some point soon.
Always, man. Always. Be safe out there.
Okay.